This is Brad Culp with Lava Magazine. We're here with the man, the myth, the legend, the Olympian, Jarrod Shoemaker. Jarrod, good to be here. We want to talk a bit about the San Diego race. We're here in San Diego. It's first week of May next year. You've got what's arguably going to be the biggest race of the year. That's where you're going to be going after an Olympic spot. How much pressure, like right now, are you feeling like, all right, May is the big day, I got to be thinking about May now, and how much are you thinking about the earlier season races and just what you can do during the off-season?
I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself. I kind of feel like it's whatever happens, happens. I just need to get back to the form that I was in for the past 2 years, and where I was consistently finishing top 10s. And if I do that, I'm all set. You know, obviously there's always pressure around the Olympics and qualifying, but I've put myself in the best position that I can put myself in, so, you know, there's not really a lot I can do. So I'm just excited that we have the race in the U.S. I mean, that's a huge plus. I'm excited it's in San Diego, a place where I've trained and, you know, come out here at least once or twice every year. So it kind of feels like, you know, I know my way around and I know everything out here, so it's kind of like a third or fourth home.
What do you, I mean, obviously the run's got to be the focus. It's an ITU race. You know, it's almost always going to come down to that run. You said you're out here working with a biomechanic expert. What kind of stuff are you doing right now to put that run where it needs to be, you know, 5-6 months from now?
To be in the game, you need to really be in the game from the beginning, which is kind of a 180 from what triathlon was like even 4 years ago. 4 years ago it was sit, 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 and then run. Now I think it's a very different game. It's, you know, you got to be excellent on the swim, you got to be ready to go on the bike, and then you still have to run fast. So I think it's very different. So we've actually been working a lot on actually recovery from the concussion and the neck injury that I had in Hamburg and London this year. I got kicked in the face really hard coming around the turn buoy, and it was just one of those things, just right into the nose, and my neck just snapped back. And it was, you know, one of those things where it's instantaneous and you're not really prepared for it. And that, you know, the doc said, you know, you probably had a very, very, very minor concussion, you know, not something where you blacked out. I remember the rest of the race, but I was not myself. Like, it totally changed the way that I raced, and I felt like I could go, but I couldn't go fast. And then I kind of recovered, but then I crashed in London, and that, the doc that we met up with, he was a concussion expert, he said that actually probably put you over the edge and really hurt your neck. And it's interesting, you know, I didn't really link those two things, and then after that, and it's all this list of symptoms that you have for post-concussion syndrome, and it's, you know, stuff like apathy and change of behavior, being more nervous, anxiety, and
not very good things when you're going to
triathlon. Exactly. And so it was really tough to train, much less race, and it was just really interesting. It was really kind of an eye-opening experience. And so since then, we've actually been doing a lot of work to strengthen my neck, because one of the things you do when you have a concussion is you really try and stabilize and support your head. So running is actually the hardest thing to do, because your body wants to go like this the whole time. And I was looking at pictures of myself running from Yokohama and Buffalo. It's really interesting because my neck is up like this to support my head.
Talk a bit about the guys on the U.S. team. I mean, obviously there's a ton of athletes going for what you were just saying, probably 2 spots on the U.S. Olympic team. And now, just in the last minute, you got guys, you know, Andy Potts showed up and did a World Cup. You have Maddie Reed flirting with them. You know, guys not necessarily coming out of the woodworks. Obviously, Potts and Reed are Olympians in their own right. But then you've got guys like yourself, and Ethan Brown, and Kevin Collington, who, you know, you may be a bit more loyal to the ITU scene and to that style of racing. Is there any sense within you guys who are, you know, who do stick to draft legal racing that, all right, these guys are coming in and trying to steal one of these spots last minute? Is there any sense of ownership over that, or is it just, hey, there's 2 spots, you know, it's up for anyone, let's just, you know, go worry about our own race and see what we can do?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'd say to some extent it's a little frustrating, because I'd like to see the U.S. be the best country in triathlon and, you know, in the ITU stage. And right now, people just aren't racing ITU. I don't blame them. It's hard to get to races. You don't make money when you go to races. There's not really good media exposure for it. So I don't blame people. And I think triathlon's changed a bit in the past 3-4 years. So I think it's a different sport now than it was, and I think it's harder to come back into it now. But, you know, I think it's great that Andy and Matt are looking at it. I think it's great that we've got, you know, some young kids who think that they might have a shot at it. But, you know, the real answer to that question is, as long as the people that are racing ITU are performing, then it shouldn't be a question, you know. And I think right now we don't have very many people who are performing at that top level. So, you know, I think the door's wide open. You know, I mean, if you come out and you perform, all the better.
You yourself have been trying to really push draft legal racing, you know, to some younger kids and to just a wider audience. Talk a bit about what you've done helping to organize these races, and just what some of the advantages are of like an everyday athlete just showing up to do a draft legal race. What can they gain from it? What's the experience like?
Yeah, I've been working super hard on a lot of different stuff actually, and the Draft Legal Challenge that we do in Claremont, put it on again. It's the March 3rd, and we've got age group draft legal races. We actually have a youth 12 to 15 race, and we have a Continental Cup, so it's kind of like a full draft legal day. I think it's awesome for age groupers to give it a shot. I mean, you know, get out there on a road bike and race in a pack, and you know, it's not as crazy or unsafe as people think. You know, most of the packs end up being 4, 5, 6 people out on the road, so it's actually pretty cool, and it was so much fun to watch people last year. And my coach Tim Crowley was out there last year racing, and he's like, it was the best thing I could have done to learn what you guys go through, because he never had that opportunity before. Mm-hmm. So we opened up registration, and I was like the 5th person to sign up. So, you know, I think it's really good for age group athletes to understand it. And I mean, we're trying to find a way to do some more draft league races. I've actually heard that there might be a couple more this year, but I've also been working on kind of a sprint series for pros, and we're really close to having a 5-race series, which would be a race in the race in Claremont. Actually, we're going to be putting on a race out in Temecula.
Nice.
It's going to be a triathlon festival weekend. It's called Ethos, and so it's going to be kind of a festival with triathlon, with you know, kind of the mud run type thing, and just kind of a festival atmosphere out there. It's Vale Lake, which is absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous
very nice
place.
spot.
So we were out there playing around for the past couple days too, checking that out. So we're going to have sprint race out there, and then I got races in New Jersey and Massachusetts that we're trying to kind of figure out if we can do races there. So, you know, I'd love to get it up to that level of the French series, the German series, and for U.S. athletes. But I just think it'll be cool one way or another to try and at least get some pros on the start line, you know, whether it's 10 of us or, you know, 50 of us, just out there and just kind of do something different and have a sprint series, and hopefully it'll help build the next generation of draft legal athletes, because honestly that's what they have an advantage over us is in Europe. The French teams, I mean, they've got kids who are 18, 19 racing in those draft legal races against the Brownlees and Gomez, and you know, so those guys are learning from an early age what it takes to be racing at that level. Whereas in the U.S., you know, we kind of shelter some of our younger kids.
Are you gonna get out here and train on the World Championship course at all while you're here?
Yeah, actually, yesterday we went over and scouted it out a little bit, looked at the swim, looked at the bike. I mean, I don't really think it's anything that is really important to train on. And I was thinking it might be a little bit different, but it's kind of an out and back thing, and you know, I'm just happy we got a course here, and it would have been more fun to, you know, swim in the cove and run up the steps and then, you know, bike up the hill in La Jolla or something like that.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it would have been kind of cool, but you know, it's Mission Bay and Fiesta Island area is, you know, that's where triathlon started, so it's kind of cool to go back to the roots and race there.
All right. Thanks so much for coming by.
Awesome.
And Jarrod Shoemaker, watch out for him next year at the San Diego World Championship event on May 8th. May 8th, right? Some around that
12th, 13th, I think. Whatever.
Beginning of May.
Mother's Day weekend.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
You get
I'll
to
bring my mom out.
Oh, nice. Very nice. All right. Thank you, Jarrod. Always a pleasure.